Is he mad? Oh, shit.
So today, the United States launched a trade war against Canada. Their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense.
He's pissed. See, this is definitely the energy you have when you've already decided that you're going to retire. This is last week in senior year energy. He's already out. He's going to leave anyway. So he's just going to, yeah, I can say whatever the fuck I want. This is it. Yep.
Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite. But we will not back down from a fight.
What about you booing the anthem? How about that?
Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response.
And that is?
Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Jesus.
Starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion of American products in 21 days' time. Should these tariffs not cease?
I'm feeling like the next step is 50. What do y'all think? 50%? What do you think? Trump? Maybe Trump do 125. How about 125%? A 1,000%? Well, that's after they try to go up again. Trump said he's matching whatever they add. So does that mean he's going to do another 25% now? It's going to go up to 50%? Oh no. It's a lose-lose with China? Well, they tariff China too.
We are in active and ongoing discussions with provinces and territories to pursue several non-tariff measures. Measures which will demonstrate that there are no winners in a trade war. Now, just like I did a month ago, I want to speak first directly to the American people.
Oh, this is me.
We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you. As of this morning,
wouldn't that mean that you're choosing to do it to your people too? Because like if he's saying the tariffs are being done to the American people, wouldn't that mean he's doing the same thing? Like, I mean, that would be the logic, right?
Are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between.
I feel like this the tariff like rhetoric doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because like whenever he's going and saying that like the U.S. is doing it to their own people, wouldn't he then be accusing himself of doing the exact same thing to his own people whenever he has reciprocal tariffs? Like, I feel like, I don't know. Are you slow? No, I'm just saying, like, that's just, but he didn't start it? No, I didn't think so either. It's a trade war Trump started? No, it definitely is. No, 100%. Absolutely 100%.
They've chosen to harm American national security.
Absolutely.
impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for the United States.
I remember that.
And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth. So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today. Now, the legal pretext your government is using to bring in these tariffs is that Canada is apparently unwilling to help in the fight against illegal fentanyl. Well, that is totally false. Let's look at the facts. Our border is already safe and secure. Far less than 1% of fentanyl flows and less than 1% of illegal crossings into the United States comes from Canada. But we acted because we know we can always do better. We responded to concerns, including from
Y'all think he lying? I'm going to say something that's not really related, but like this whole thing about him being Fidel Castro's son, I completely believe it. I 100% believe it. I think it's undeniable. I wish on the last day he would just come out and say it. He'd be like, yeah, I got you. Really? Yeah, no, I do believe it. I'm sorry, I do. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
President by implementing an ambitious $1.3 billion border plan. A border plan that includes generational investments in new AI and imaging tools to stop the flow of fentanyl in its tracks.
I'm not really sure what Trump's end game is with putting all these tariffs on Canada. I don't really see like what's the where's the win condition here?
Stronger coordination and information sharing with American agencies, along with the deployment of drones, helicopters, and additional personnel to keep our border secure. Now, a month ago, as part of an agreement with the United States that paused the tariffs, we made further commitments. We appointed Kevin Brasseau as our fentanyl czar, a man who dedicated his multi-decade career in law enforcement to combating organized crime networks and drug trafficking. We designated 7 drug cartels, sick, evil groups who cynically profit off the pain and suffering of people on both sides of the border, as the terrorist organizations that they are.
That's good.
And just yesterday, we launched a new joint operations partnership supported by a $200 million investment between Canada's security and law enforcement agencies.
That's a lot of money.
A partnership that will enhance the coordination of information and intelligence in order to thwart criminal gangs involved in the illegal fentanyl trade.
A lot of people hate this guy. Like I've never talked to somebody in Canada, like personally, that likes him. Like I don't know exactly why they don't like him. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not a Canadian, but I've never talked to somebody who likes him. That's it.
And critically, our actions are working. As the U.S. Customs and Border Protection just acknowledged, there was a 97% drop in fentanyl seizures from January compared to December, to a near zero low of less than half an ounce seized in January, even with all the further enforcements and actions we've taken at the borders. In sum, we stepped up.
I can't see fentanyl being the real reason for this happening. There's got to be something else you don't know about. That's the way I see it. Yeah, it's got to be something else.
Engaged closely and constructively with the president and his administration. We did everything we promised. We stuck to our word. Oh. And we did it because we believe in working together to protect our citizens. Now I want to speak directly to one specific American.
As I said, man, this is last, like, this guy knows he's leaving. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, the call out, yeah. Half an ounce can kill 7K people, by the way. God damn.
Donald, in the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. Donald, in the over 8 years you and I have worked together,
Donald,
we've done big things.
Big things.
We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the US have done together for decades, for generations. And now we should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world.
I'm going to just say, I think that a lot of the animosity and the aggression towards Canada, I don't really think, like, it's funny to meme about, right? Like, US versus Canada, Canada 51st state, etc. But, like, I don't really, it's funny, but, like, it's not something I would, like, it's not something I take seriously, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just, it's funny, that's all. It's not funny at all? I don't know. I think you can laugh at, like, you know, like, during that hockey game, them yelling at each other and booing and getting in fights. I think that's fine, but I don't think that most Americans have a problem with Canada. I don't think so.
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do. We two friends fighting is exactly what our opponents around the world want to see. And now, to my fellow Canadians, I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be tough, even though we're all going to pull together, because that's what we do. Oh. We will use every tool at our disposal so Canadian workers and businesses can weather this storm. From expanding EI benefits and making them more flexible to providing direct supports to businesses, we will be there as needed to help. But Canada, make no mistake.
Trump is canceling the tariffs again? There's no way, bro. Like, there's no way. Just saw a tweet. No, we'll look at it after this. He keeping people on their toes. I don't want off this roller coaster. Yes. Donald's wild ride. Holy shit.
No matter how long this lasts, no matter what the cost, the federal government and other orders of government will be there for you. We will defend Canadian jobs. We will take measures to prevent predatory behavior that threatens Canadian companies because of the impacts of this trade war, leaving them open to takeovers. We will relentlessly fight to protect our economy. We will stand up for Canadians every single second of every single day because this country is worth fighting for.
Wow.
Les derniers mois ont été stressants et honnêtement épuisants.
All right, while the Prime Minister is speaking in French, I want to bring in
who the
CNN's
fuck?
Paula Newton. She's joining us from Ottawa, CNN White House reporter Elena Treen. Paula, I've covered U.S. Canadian relations for many, many years. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, right on the border with Canada. Our family used to go to Canada, to Ontario, Crystal Beach. Every summer we had a home there. So I spent a lot of time growing up effectively in Canada. I have never seen this U.S.-Canadian relationship deteriorate as seriously as it has right now. The Prime Minister of Canada saying the U.S. has declared a trade war against Canada. Have you ever seen this U.S.-Canadian relationship as bad as it is right now?
Absolutely not, Wolf. And I echo, your thoughts. In my entire lifetime, Wolf, in terms of what you speak and that very close friendship between Americans and Canadians, I have never seen anti-Americanism reach this height in my entire lifetime. And I want to know.
I've seen a lot of. I'm just gonna say, there's nobody that hates Americans more than Canadians. I've seen this. You play online video games with Canadians, they got all kinds of shit to talk about America. Like every single time, all the time, they're like, yeah, we're the good ones. Every fucking time. We love America. Yeah, I know, but you also complain about us a lot, right? Huh? It's a little bit of both. We are the good ones, for sure.
Wolf, that was the Prime Minister, the man who will not be Prime Minister much longer, probably a matter of days.
Yeah.
And it was really Justin Trudeau unplugged, saying that he could speak to the American people themselves in a blunt, forceful way.
See, I wish they would do this all the time. Like, this is one thing that I hope that they bring back is just going, and like maybe this is me being selfish because it's really good content. But man, is it good content. Like, it is. It's such good. It's so entertaining. It's a bit of both, yeah.
Because he doesn't have anything to lose now politically. And I do note that he basically said, Donald, addressing him directly, you are a smart man, but echoing the words of the Wall Street Journal, this is a dumb thing to do. He also made it clear, though, to Canadians, Wolf, that, look, he's not going to sugarcoat it, and this will be tough. Wolf, what's interesting here is that so many people across Canada are echoing what the Prime Minister has said. We have had leaders of provinces say that they're actually breaking up with America. Nope. And make no mistake here, Wolf, this will hurt Canadians. This will really bite, but it will also hurt many Americans as well. In terms of what happens going forward, Wolf, this is escalation, and Justin Trudeau is putting the United States on notice that there will be escalation. Key, though, he did speak to those strategic industries. When we talk about critical minerals, we've heard so much about how many Ukraine has. Canada arguably has some of the largest deposits of critical minerals in the world. They were willing to certainly open themselves up to even American companies that wanted to come in and try and exploit that and try and clear some of the regulatory...
CNN's propaganda. I mean, like, every news station I watch, if I pull up Fox News, people are like, it's Fox. If I pull up MSNBC, geez, it's MSNBC. If I pull up CNN, it's CNN. It doesn't matter, guys. Everything's fake. They're all propaganda. Just read it, listen to it, make a decision for your fucking self, right? That's really what it comes down to. People are about to lose their jobs. Causing a good content is not very respectful for both sides here. I mean, if you were looking for a person who's going to manage their tone and not talk about things in a inflammatory manner, you are at the wrong place. You're at the wrong place. This is the place where we talk about things in a way that upsets people. We bring up, we don't sugarcoat anything either. We got no problem with that. And it's not Reddit. This isn't for pussies. Now, are you right that I'm being an asshole? Yes, I am. I am being an asshole right now. And I don't want anybody to lose their job. I think everybody knows that, though. If we have to cater the conversations and the content to the lowest common denominator of, pussies crying, well, we're not going to say anything that's funny. We're just trying to have fun. That's it. You're the biggest pussy? I'm the biggest pussy? Okay. That's great. Anyway, so yeah, so that's it. So you're gonna get mad. You get mad as much as you want, but it's not gonna stop. People being unemployed is better for. That's another thing, because if they're unemployed, they watch the stream more. Now, there's plenty of people that say they watch at work.
It's clear the Trump administration was not interested. Well, if this is a decoupling, not just from Canada, but certainly many, many Western allies, and Europe right now, who've also been put on notice about tariffs in April, are taking note. What happens next? We continue to see the fallout. We do hear that more measures, including what we discussed weeks ago about things like U.S. alcohol coming right off the shelves in Canada. That's just one example
from
of something that will hit
podcast perspective, and from our
Republican
perspective,
states.
It is fair to say that if we don't...
How the fuck did that happen?
In Canada, that's just one example of something that will hit Republican states like Kentucky that will not be able to sell much of their bourbon into Canada at all. But there is so much more here at stake. Key is energy, both oil, but also natural gas and also electricity. And Canada on the table right now has a threat of putting an export tariff on that, which will instantly make
Paula,
energy
hold on for a
much more
moment, because the
expensive
Prime
for
Minister
Americans.
has started taking some questions from reporters.
He starts speaking American again? Holy shit, thank God. All right, let's listen to
about Vice President Pence right now. Excuse me, Vice President Vance right now. I want to listen.
Very clearly that in terms of taking action on fentanyl, we are doing everything that is necessary, and not just for the United States, for ourselves as well, as Canadians are suffering as well from the scourge that is illegal fentanyl. We have laid out extensive plans, actions, cooperations, including as recently as the past days in Washington, and they have always been very well received. And the numbers bear that out. I think in what President Trump said yesterday, that there is nothing Canada or Mexico can do to avoid these tariffs, underlines very clearly what I think a lot of us have suspected for a long time, that these tariffs are not specifically about fentanyl, even though that is the legal justification he must use to...
I'm trying to think why he'd even do that. That's one thing I'm confused about. It's like, what is it? Trump's endgame. Yeah, my guess is speedrun. Yeah, I don't even know. It makes no sense. Because you think he's just a big orange fat dumb retard, and he's doing everything wrong because he's stupid. Well, fuck. That sucks.
Actually move forward with these tariffs.
The United States has announced it's suspending aid for Ukraine.
The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada, and saying that basically this idea that the reason for these tariffs is because of fentanyl is a false pretext. And he talks about all the things that Canada has done to crack down, and that less than 1% of fentanyl that was seized at the U.S. border was from Canada. Elena, it struck me, you're at the White House, and I'm wondering, he talked about how he hasn't talked to Trump yet. He hopes to. He tried to appeal to him directly, saying, Donald. And he said, you're a smart man, but this is dumb, saying that he agreed with the Wall Street Journal. Is there any reaction from the White House, Elena?
From the moments that we've heard him say that, not yet that I've heard, Paula. But look, this is something, or Pamela, excuse me, this is something that I think is definitely going to receive a reaction from the president and the White House. This is
I've got a really good feeling that there's going to be a reaction. I got a really good feeling about that.
strongest language we have heard yet from the prime minister. A couple of things that really stuck out to me from what he has said. He said that 50%. They have stepped up, that they have been engaging repeatedly in conversations as recently in the last couple of days with the Trump administration, that they are doing everything that they can. As you mentioned, I think the point where he was addressing Donald, he was addressing the president directly by name, using that harsh language, going on to say, we've worked together, we've had a relationship for several years, we've done big things together, we should be working together now. All things that
Trump just announced retaliation. Oh, jeez. Yo, fuck that war in Ukraine. We're gonna have a war in fucking Canada. Go fucking take over Canada. Oh my God.
Heard him say and maybe more nicer or friendlier terms before, but now you're hearing a very direct, harsh language from the prime minister. Look, I mean, from what the president said yesterday, and what has been kind of clear, is he said yesterday that he doesn't believe there's any more room to negotiate when it comes to what Canada and Mexico are doing. He has said very clearly that he believes they aren't doing enough on fentanyl. You heard the prime minister argue that he doesn't believe that's actually what these tariffs are about. And then today you've heard a lot of Donald Trump's cabinet members, people like...
Somebody in chat said a second war of northern aggression.
Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary. You've heard Peter Navarro, a key trade advisor to the president, argue that if they do see some real changes in stemming the flow of migrants and fentanyl from coming over the border, that perhaps these tariffs will be called off. But clearly, this is a huge deterioration with allies that we have had. And one thing, of course, I think the real change that we could see is in the reaction that the president and the White House has to how the United States economy is being impacted already over the last couple of days, the last 2 days. We've seen the stock market drop some 1,300 points. We're seeing different companies like Target saying prices are going to increase. That is something as well that will ignite some sort of reaction from this White House.
Yeah, we see the Dow Jones Industrials down now. Just today, 788 points, at least so far, now 790 points.
Damn.
We heard the Prime Minister, Elena, cite the Wall Street Journal editorial. In today's Wall Street Journal, usually a conservative editorial page, the headline is "Trump Takes the Dumbest Tariff Plunge." And it writes,
so far. Do you really think that he's not, like, so far? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Y'all got to keep in mind, we have 8 more years of this. At least. So y'all trying to act like this is a big deal. Man.
It's this. We've courted Mr. Trump's ire by calling the Mexico and Canada levies the dumbest in history, and we may have understated the point. Mr. Trump is whacking friends, not adversaries. And it's interesting because this U.S.-Canada relationship, which has always been so strong, so powerful, has now deteriorated to where this is going on.
It's stunning. And he talked about the fact that this is exactly what our adversaries want, to see this deterioration of an alliance that has so much history. Wolf.
I want to bring in retired U.S. Army General, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander Wesley Clark. He's joining us right now. General Clark, thanks so much for joining us. Let me first of all get your reaction to Prime Minister Trudeau's condemnation of what the Trump administration is doing here.
Well, I think he's exactly right when he says that it's not about fentanyl. What is it about? What is it about when you want to sever the relationships with your closest ally? You know, you're worried about Chinese and Russian ships in the Arctic, and so we're going to have a breach of our work with Canada. It doesn't make sense. And so when you try to understand this, it doesn't make economic sense, doesn't make strategic sense.
I think that the way a lot of people see it is they see it that Canada is effectively protected by the United States. And this is the way I think that, like, Trump fans see it, is that Canada, like, enjoys the protection by the United States. And they think that there is, like, an unfair advantage Canada is getting. Like, they're getting too much out of it and we're not getting enough out of it. And that's the way that they defend it. Now, I'm not even agreeing with this. I'm just saying, like, if I had to assume what those people think, that's probably what they're thinking. Protected from who? I don't know. Russia? Who the fuck knows? I'm just saying that's what they think.
Just a break in the way that the U.S. operates. And yes, the market's going down, Wolf, because when you look at something like this, it's
Mafia
not just
tactic?
about the tariffs. Yeah. It's about the credibility of the United States. It's about the trustworthiness of the president. It's about what kind of leadership he brings to the United States. There were issues in the election. People knew this, but people were concerned about the economy. Let's look at the economy. But I'm concerned about what's happening in global affairs and U.S. security. And when I see what's being done to Canada...
I think that a lot of people voted for Trump because they just didn't like the direction the country was going in general, like with like woke stuff, with culture, with the way that like illegal immigration was, the economy. It was like everything, right? It wasn't just because of the economy. I think to say it was because of the economy is like very, very reductive. And again, like that's really what I think it was. I mean, egg prices were a component, but the fact is that I think that really that wasn't the main reason. I don't think so.
A nation that's always been our ally.
Stuff?
When I was NATO commander, I couldn't have gotten any stronger support from any nation than I did from Canada, as strong as the support I had from the United States. And yet, here we are isolating Canada and isolating the United States really from our nearest neighbors. It's a real threat to U.S. security. It's not about fentanyl. It's about how to keep America safe, and this isn't the way to do it.
It's hard to believe that this is going on. General Clark of the Wall Street Journal, in that editorial today, Trump takes the dumbest tariff plunge. They also write this: Mr. Trump is whacking friends, not adversaries.
I wonder if he's going to increase it now to 50%. And like, you know, you want to talk about some mafia shit? I wonder if he's just going to go immediately to 50%. Double down? Yeah, I don't know. He definitely will. I think there's a high probability.
Agree with that?
I do. And you know, well, if I was talking to some other analysts this morning, some very smart people on the inside, I think some people working in the administration really understand that President Trump's being played by Mr. Putin. But I don't know if President Trump really understands that. After smashing our relationships with
I think that this narrative isn't going to work, even if it's true anymore, because of how much they overplayed this. Like, you know, for like any average voter, it's like in 2016, it was all about how Trump was like got elected because of Russia and all this bullshit. Like, it's just not going to, like, this is like totally DR'd. Completely fucking DR'd. It's not going to work. It's over. People not going to buy into this. Can't overplay truth. I'm telling you, like, this is just what it is.
And I'm sure this will make President Putin really happy too. After doing this and enticing Putin to come to the table, what are we going to say to him? He's going to ask for more and more and more. What's it really about? And so I look at this as a severe departure from a normal pattern of United States national security processes. We're bipartisan. We're nonpartisan in national security. And President Trump has come in here and wants to turn the table upside down. He wants to somehow cozy up to Mr. Putin and disregard and insult and separate the United States from our allies. This is not going to end well.
Yeah, it's a pretty, very, very serious situation unfolding right now. U.S. credibility with allies on the line right now. General Wesley Clark.
Man, that is fucking crazy. And this is only a few hours ago. Like, this is, bro, like, it's Donald's wild ride, man. Let me see if I can pull this up. Truth Social. So apparently he already commented on this. If companies move to United States, there are no tariffs. Please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada that when he puts retaliatory tariff on the U.S., our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount. He going to 50%. He doesn't give a fuck. This is seen so entire candidate make America great again by making the world hate us and not buy from us. This is American liquor that's been ordered to be taken off the shelves across Ontario. Damn. Damn. The United States launched a trade war against Canada. Their closest friend, Canadians, are reasonable, but we will not back down, not when our country is at stake. Man. Oh my fucking God.
Surge. We continue to set tourism records. 2024 saw more than 142 million visitors come to the state of Florida. This includes 3.3 million visitors from Canada. That's not much of a boycott in my book. Maybe they wanted to get a glimpse of what a Stanley Cup winning hockey team actually looks like. Flock to our state.
Can you imagine, like, how much of a free farm it is for these media companies right now because of all this crazy shit going on? Like, it's all you have to do. Like, it's like a fucking TV show. It is. It's escalated in this mass. You too? Yes. It's just wild what's going on with this. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's surprising to see how extreme all this is. Like, I don't know. How does he do it, man? Like, I feel like this is kind of what happened in a lot of cases is that I remember one of the reasons why I think Trump didn't get reelected is because people were just fucking like, they were like, man, this is just crazy. Like, we gotta, like, we're tired, man. What is this? And you walked into 4 more years, maybe 8 more years of this.
Is off the shelves. Also starting to is off the shelves. Also starting today, all U.S.-based companies will be banned from taking part in government procurement. Every year, the province and its agencies spend about $30 billion on procurement, alongside our more than $200 billion planned to build infrastructure. U.S.-based businesses will now lose out on tens of billions of dollars in revenues. They only have President Trump to blame.
Uh-oh.
I'm also urging all 444 municipalities to do the same. And I'm thrilled to see some are already stepping up. For example, Mayor Patrick Brown in the city of Brampton and many other cities. As part of this government-wide procurement ban, we're going one step further. We're ripping up Ontario's contract with Starlink.
Damn.
It's done. It's gone. We won't award contracts to people who enable and encourage economic attacks on our province and our country. Alongside federal tariffs and the measures my fellow premiers are bringing forward, this Team Canada's opening response.
Man, and so, and all Trump said about this is that he just said now the beatings will continue until morale improves. Just straight up. Yeah. It's going to be 100% in 2 weeks. Oh my God. They're pissed over that hockey game? I don't know. America deserves to get dicked down for real, for real. I don't know what's going to happen with this. Honestly, I really don't know what's going to happen. This is kind of a shock.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Thanks to all of you. No, we will not be ripping up the speech tonight. I would like to frame it in gilded gold, but I'm not sure how to do that from the podium. I want to welcome you all and happy Mardi Gras. And if I had forethought, I would have brought beads to throw at you. You would have had the whole experience. We had a great weekend. Let me give you a recap on a few things. We had a great weekend.
We're going to annex Canada?
Florida. We had the House Republicans gathered in Miami for an NRCC winter retreat. It's an annual tradition. And
how's Canada going to survive
this? The vibe is so good among
they
Republicans. We had our largest attendance ever. The most members ever participated with their families, and lots of friends and
they can't,
donors and supporters of the cause were
They'll
down there.
Cave? Yeah, that's the thing is that man, if they end up like I don't know, like cave to what? Yeah, they don't have the yeah. He should say they don't have the cards.
With us in a great time. We understand that nobody really wants to talk about 2026 yet, the midterm cycle, but we are, because we are very excited about what that is going to yield. We're in a very strong position to defy what is the norm. It's not traditionally expected for a new president to pick up seats in that first 2-year midterm for his party, but we are going to grow the majority next year, and we have a great plan.
I think Republicans will keep growing and keep getting more popular because Democrats are too captured by identity politics still. They won't get away from identity politics, and the fact is also that people like winning. At the end of the day, if Trump gets the mineral deal from Ukraine, after he basically brings them to heel, they will, like, people value strength more than anything. They value winning more than anything. And if you can win, they will like you, and people will vote for you. That's it. More than money? Yeah. In some cases, yeah. So America's just fascist now? I don't think that really makes it fascist.
And to do that, we will be riding the wave of the popularity of President Trump's policies, and he is doing some things that everybody in the country is excited about. Once all this is signed into law, the American people are going to begin to feel real relief at the pump, in their bank account, and in safer communities. This set of policies is what the president ran on, and all of us ran on, and we'll be checking the boxes along the way. Now, polling continues to show the American people are with us on the issues. In Congress, we have the highest approval rating in 4 years.
This is the problem. Is like this is why I think they're going to win too. Is because like that Democrats still focusing on like illegal immigrants, trying to conflate immigrants that come here legally with illegals that came over the border and are committing crime, right? It's like, again, like unforced errors. Very, very different. Yeah, people like, you know, men and women's sports, exactly, right? Like these types of things, like this shit isn't popular. It's not popular with anybody, like except for like a small fringe amount of people. And like if you and you might think that like these issues are like not big issues, they don't really matter. And like in a way you're right. In a way you're right. But like if they don't matter, then why are they pushing them so hard? You see what I'm saying? Like if it doesn't actually matter, then why do you keep doing it? Why are you holding on to it so hard? Please, you're genuine. Is it bad that Trump is burning bridges with all allies? Yeah, it is. I think that he is playing an extremely dangerous game. Like, I think that there's a lot of people that are probably of the mindset, I want off Donald's wild ride. Absolutely. Like, how many of you guys, that's exactly how you feel? Yeah, and it's stressful. It is. Because this is the thing. Whenever Trump was president the first time, it was the same thing. Like, every day, there'd be some new caps lock tweet where he's talking about bombing someplace or some other crazy shit. And it's every day.
Among Republicans in our party, we have the highest approval rating in over 20 years. You have to go back to August of 2005 to see similar numbers. And I think the reason for that is because we're restoring common sense. And that is the theme that the president keeps reiterating over and over. We're restoring what makes sense to the people. And this contrast between our policies and our ideas and this common sense agenda is very different than our Democrat colleagues. They are defending wasteful government spending right now. They're opposing tax cuts for working families. They're supporting.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think that they're losing the public optics war on is like spending a bunch of money on illegals and shit like that, and on like random USAID things overseas. Even though it's a fraction of the budget, it's not really a big deal. What really matters is the military. You put that out to the public, and the public's gonna think it's fucking ridiculous. That's it. They think it's going to be fucking ridiculous. Like, average people, okay, what? Yeah, they do.
Open borders in sanctuary cities, you heard about this morning. And they're doing all that above the well-being of the American people. And the American people are taking note. And while House Democrats struggle to find a message that hasn't already been rejected by the American people, House Republicans are going to continue to deliver for the country. Speaking of delivering for the American people, President Trump makes his triumphant return, of course, tonight, as was mentioned. It's 5 years after his last State of the Union address. This is
like if Trump was a G, he would lock the doors at the hearing, at the ceremony, and he would read off the names of all the people that were in the room that were on the Epstein list. That would be crazy. And then arrest them right there. That would be, you want to talk about cinema, that would be it. Yep, like Saddam did that. Red Wedding, yep. Definitely not going to happen. But you guys have to agree with me that that would be the most entertaining thing that could possibly happen. Including himself? No, he just leave that one off.
Joint address to Congress, not a State of the Union, because a State of the Union is typically delivered on or
the red State
around
of the Union, yeah.
Sort of the 1 year anniversary, first year in office. But this president is working so quickly, I invited him to come early in the process to give this joint address because there's so much to report to the people, and we're delighted he's going to be there. If he just stood at the Speaker's rostrum and read off all his list of accomplishments since January 20th, we'd be there all night. I don't expect it will go that long. He's going to give a truncated version of this. But there really is so much to celebrate. The president has already notched impressive.
We got to do a bingo for this. We got to get a bingo set up for this whole situation about the about this event. We do a bingo soon.
In so many categories. There's a few. Securing the border so well that border crossings have hit
this
an
is like
historic
4 hours.
low.
Yeah, sure, I'll probably watch it.
Deporting criminal illegal aliens.
I'll sit around for a bit.
Taking on the cartels directly. Standing up to terrorists, bringing hostages back home.
Yeah.
Working to secure peace around the globe. Ending the weaponization of government, bringing investments and jobs back to the U.S., unleashing American energy, keeping...
Yeah, nothing like destroying Canadian economy. This will destroy the livelihood of Canadians. Very disappointed in Trump's attack on Canada. Yeah. I'm beginning to think that maybe Trump might be an asshole. Maybe he's... We don't care. Yeah, people like... I don't think you understand how fed up and fucking annoyed the American public is with the amount of, I think that just money and things that we've done for other countries that we feel like are not reciprocated. I think that this is such a massive sentiment, and it's actually crazy that it hasn't been capitalized on sooner. Fact, like what? Like, for example, the way that other countries criticize, like, so this is, you gotta, I don't really agree with a lot of this, but I think this is the way that people see it. A lot of people see America as, like, basically the world police. And they see us effectively providing defense and assistance to all these countries around the world and giving these other countries around the world money, while these other countries criticize and say bad things about us, about our education system, about our healthcare system, about our policing, etc., right? No, we don't. This is what a lot of people think. And I'm going to tell y'all, now you might not want to hear this. You might not want to hear this. You might not agree with this. You might think it's wrong. But you're going to see where I'm coming from. And even if you don't, it's still there. So we see all this money going out to these other countries, going out to defense, going out with disproportionate ratios to other countries. And then these other countries are talking about how we have problems. I think that a lot of average Americans are sick of being made to feel ashamed for being Americans. And so the reason why a lot of the public is behind Donald Trump is because he says, fuck you, I don't care about you, you want to fuck up the Canadian economy and destroy Canada? Fuck them. America first. Fuck them. And that's the same with Europe, except for maybe a couple. I feel like a lot of Americans were okay with like Poland and France. And ironically, I think a lot of Americans in a weird way are kind of okay with like Saudi Arabia even. But a lot of these other Western countries, they're not okay with. Not okay with Britain, not okay with Germany, not okay with Canada, etc. We hate France. I don't know. I don't think people hate France. But Japan, yeah, we like Japan. Yep, Japan, we like Japan, and that's it. And so I think that's really what's going on. That's the you know, you want to talk about like, you know, like the Freud, like ego, superego, id. That's the id of what's going on here. That's what I think is going on here. That is the essence of what this is. Now, I could be wrong, but based off of how I'm reading it, that's the way that the public thinks. And I think it is a meta level issue that is like, there's like 50 facets and 50 things that are attached to it. It clearly shows. It does. It absolutely does. We like China because they make all my goods for cheap? Yeah. You guys, I don't know. What do y'all think? You guys agree with this or not? Yes, you're wrong? You sound like a child? Okay. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, like this is where Americans are about to find out. I guess so, right? I guess so. But like that's the way Americans feel. I don't think hurt feelings justifies Trump's actions. I'm just saying that's the way people feel about it. That's it. Yeah, do Americans like dictators? Americans don't really, I don't think they really care about that a whole lot. Also, I don't think Trump is a dictator. He's just not. Like, I mean, you want to talk about a dictator, like there are dictators in the world. Trump's not one of them. It's like, this is like, again, like, sound, yet? Yeah, but he will be, but what? Okay, well, when it happens, then I'll make a video complaining about it, right? People use, yeah, this is one of them buzzwords, bro. Like, you gotta stop using the buzzwords. People not listening is getting DR'd. Isn't it bad for the U.S. to retreat from everything from their interests? We had this before World War II, you know? We did, and I think that people view the amount of, like, international, like, aid that we give as being asymmetrical. I think if you polled the average American, you would find that the supermajority of people would come to the conclusion that we give away too much money overseas. Supermajority opinion, I think. Were your neighbors, though? Okay. They don't give a fuck. Like, I don't think that people give a fuck about that. So what? Yeah, so what? I hate my neighbors? Exactly. It's a Christian nation. You remember when Trump was holding the Bible upside down? Like, well, we're really talking about that. We really think, come on, what are y'all thinking about this shit for, right? Come on.
Men out of women's
I'm just telling you, this is what it is.
Democrats don't seem to agree with us on, and cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, all this has been happening in just 43 days. It's hard to believe. He's just been in office 43 days, and that's just one sample list of what's been accomplished. It is, as our whip said, promises made, promises kept, and we're going to keep that going, and he's just getting started. So we look forward to hearing more about his vision for the future tonight, and we will continue to work with him hand in hand to deliver and implement the America First agenda and renew the American dream, which is what will be the subject of his discussion tonight. So with that, I'll take a few questions.
It's all about that. That's the whole point that he's bringing up. It's all about the idea of being an American and people wanting to reclaim American nationalism and patriotism. And ultimately, Trump doing that by shitting on countries like Canada serves a greater goal. And the average population doesn't really give a fuck about, like, what... I'm going to be real, boys. I'm going to just say it. Nobody gives a fuck about what happens in Canada. They don't care. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they care about what's happening here. That's it. We don't care. Yeah, that's true. And there are going to be people that don't think this way. There's a lot of people that don't think this way. But I think there's enough people that do think this way in order for it to be the policy.
And we'll go. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Democrats have been seizing on footage of protesters at Republican town halls, and now they're pushing back on, I guess, reporting that there's been discretion that Republicans should hold less town halls. I mean, do you think that that's what your members should be doing? Do you think that they should be?
Well, look, we've been encouraging our members to communicate directly with their constituents, and they're anxious to do that. There's lots of different ways and
what
forms
kind of
to
dumb
do it.
fucking
You can do
question
it
is that?
Telephone town halls. You can
That's the
have
dumbest
small
question I've ever heard my
subgroups
whole
of
life.
people from different industries and segments of the community. We find that to be very, very productive, and more productive than if you just go to an open forum right now. Why? Because we've seen this movie before. George Soros-funded groups and others literally pay protesters, and I saw my friend Hakeem Jeffries decrying that I've said that, but we know that that is a fact. Democrat activists who don't live in the district very often will.
I do think that in a lot of cases, a lot of these protests do seem artificial. It's the same as those like this is a conspiracy. But like those Patriot front places where everybody says that they're feds, where it's like a bunch of guys that are like military aged and fit, all get out and they're marching around and they come out of a U-Haul. Yeah. I mean, like, I'll be curious to see if we have any more of these now that there's somebody new running the FBI. I'll be curious. Seems a little bit interesting to me.
Up for these town hall events, and they'll go in an hour early and they'll fill all the seats, and so the constituents and the people from the community that are actually represented don't even get a seat. Now, I'm not saying everyone in these, all the Democrats in these town halls that you've seen on television were not from the local area, but look, there are people who do this as a profession. They're professional protesters. So why would we give them a forum to do that right now? The best thing that our members can do is communicate directly, frequently, consistently with their constituents, and there are other avenues to do it than just.
I do think that definitely there has been a lot of like very artificial astroturfing that's been going on. I think that Reddit's probably the best example of this happening, and then other social media platforms have it happening to a lesser extent, where like you have people that have a vested interest in trying to put forward a narrative or put forward some sort of like a viewpoint, and they just do that as hard as they can. What? Twitter's the worst by far? I don't think Twitter is... Well, it is and it's not, right? Twitter is really bad, but Twitter's bad on both sides. Reddit's only bad on one side.
Going in to try to give the other side sound bites. I mean, they're doing this for the cameras. We all know it, and I think it's wise not to play into it right now. So that's my position. Yes.
Speaker, would you have preferred, or should Secretary Rubio have gone through the Congress on the $3 billion arms sales announced to Israel over the weekend? And what do you hope to hear from President Trump tonight on what's next for Gaza?
Well, I think we'll have some important information on that tonight. From my perspective, what is happening at the Secretary of State, Department of Defense, and of course all through the White House is well within the President's authority. They have discretion on some of these funds and how to use them. There's been consternation about the announcement that they would pause military aid to Ukraine, and I had a few people ask me this morning, well, don't you think that's a violation of separation of powers or something? It's not. The President has authority to do that, to act as the Commander-in-Chief, to use the strategy that he and his team believe is best fit for that. It's not changing or redirecting something that Congress did, unlike the Biden administration.
There's been announced that Ross Ulbricht is one of Trump's personal guests at the speech tonight. Oh my God. Damn.
You remember with Israel, he was basically redirecting
the guy that made Silk Road
categories
put him in jail for
example,
a while.
Armaments and bombs that Congress had duly enacted, had voted to send to Israel. They were trying to redirect and hold it in perpetuity. This is different. A temporary pause, I think, is a strategic move by the Commander-in-Chief, and we support that. And so we'll see. I think there'll be more information about it tonight and in the days ahead, and we'll see how it develops.
Mr. Speaker, if you're moving ahead with a clean CR at current spending levels, does that mean that Congress will be funding programs that may have been eliminated or frozen? And if so, how do you intend to address that?
Yeah, so a clean
bullshit, don't care.
We will not be funding fraud, waste, and abuse that's already been discovered. As soon as that is qualified and quantified, okay, it will be codified. in that sequence. And what that means is we have a deadline of March 14. We don't have time to calculate all the things in major categories to work in an appropriations process in that amount of time. So what will happen is in a clean CR requested and supported by the President and all of us, we will fund the government responsibly, and at OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, and the White House, they will not direct funds to these categories of things that have been shown to be abusive. What will happen on the back end, is the way the procedure works, is that we'll be able to go back later and do rescissions and handle it in other ways. The big savings that DOGE is finding, and I'm very excited about this. I've been meeting with Elon Musk about it regularly. We talk about it often. That will be a part of FY26. We're going to get back to...
They got to put them on the fucking military. That's the thing. That's where the money is. Stopping some, like, gay Sesame Street thing, okay, cool, good. But, like, who cares? You got to put them on the military. They said they will.
Restore the process.
It's coming. Yeah, I know.
We'll get a budget from the White House that reflects all of those savings.
I'm
Because
just
there'll be time
repeating
to calculate
myself.
it and do that. And then we will begin the appropriations process for FY26. I think it's going to be a very exciting development because we're going to do it differently than it's been done in years. We'll have whole categories, big savings, I believe, that will change the equation. And it's going to be a great thing for the American people.
Last question, guys. On Ukraine.
There
are major tariffs that have obviously going into place today. Lots of concerns from the business community, from Americans. What is your message to those who are very worried that we could be at the start of a long and painful trade war?
Well, look, I don't think anybody envisions a trade war or looks forward to that, but I do think President Trump makes a great point. I've always thought of myself, I came up as a Reagan Republican, and we believe in free markets and free trade. And the president was really ahead of his time. Back in 2015, 2016, when he first began to run for president, he would often correct us. He'd say, yes, free trade, but fair trade. And he made a great point. I mean, a lot of people had blinders on. There was all these countries around the world that have taken advantage of America. The America First agenda is to reset.
This is the way a lot of people feel right here. Like what he's saying right here, this is the way people feel. And you might not like it, but this is what it is.
Those relationships. And his idea of reciprocal tariffs policies is actually really comports with common sense. I mean, if we have a country that we have a huge trade imbalance with because they're charging 100% tariff on imports from the U.S., well, then we need to bring that down. How do we bring it down? By giving them a dose of their own medicine. Now, this is not an adversarial thing. This is to...
Absolutely, in some cases is, and I don't think that they have a problem with it being adversarial. It's not reciprocal? Well, I don't know. Sometimes it probably is. Sometimes it's not. But like that, I don't think people give a fuck if it's reciprocal or not.
Continue good relationships and trade policy. So I think this initiative will achieve that desired result. My suspicion is if there's a country that's charging us hypothetically 100% tariffs on imports and we do the same, they will begin to lower those import tariffs pretty quickly. And you will get back to a point of equilibrium that does resemble free trade again. I think that's good for the American people and for our country. And as the president said, just have a little patience with this. Let it play out, see how it develops, and I think at the end of the day, America's going to be better off. American consumers, American families, and all of us as a nation and as a people. So we support it, and we'll see what happens. And thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you.
Man. Do you think America can self-sustain? I don't know. Canada wasn't charging us 100% tariffs, so why is Trump going to go after them? Because he's not charging Canada 100%. He was charging them 25%, right? And so this is really what's going to happen. Republicans are united. They are. And I think that the problem also is that there's no messaging, there's no Democratic messaging that isn't just basically anti-Trump screeching. There's not like a lot of policy that I think resonates with average voters. Like pretty much every policy position that is like popular at least on social media right now with Democrats is a bunch of like weird identity bullshit. Where it's like, people in your echo chamber. Guys, I try to tell y'all, nobody wants to listen. People never want to listen because they don't want to learn. They don't want to see it happen, but it will. And I'm telling you guys, this is what's going to happen. Now, some people might think I'm wrong, but I keep being right. I do. I keep being right. And if I'm wrong, think about the last shit about, about being able to gauge where I think things are going to go. So this is really it, right? Avowed. Yeah, I was wrong on Avowed. That's a video game. I think with this political shit, I think especially with like gauging on what people are going to think, I feel like I've been on point with pretty much fucking everything. I do. And I think that's why people watch the show. It's because I try to say, like, basically, this is the way my thought process works. And you might not like this, but I think about what is the most one-dimensional, self-serving, immediate thing that the most people, the lowest common denominator of people, can identify. And whatever that is, that's what people think. That's it. And I'm never wrong.